everybody for this evening's training. As usual, it's a pleasure for me and Pascal to share this evening with you and some of the business ideas that we have that we think would benefit you. I'm very glad to hear that we have such a wide variety of people joining from all corners, many corners of the world, not all, but many. And the fact that it's not all corners means that we still have work to do. We need to have people from every corner of the world joining us in training, and especially in using our products and doing our business. So it's a great pleasure for me. And as you might have seen by your invite, today I wanted to look at some of the questions that I've been receiving. I always feel that it's a good thing to do a Q&A every now and then, because in this, I actually borrow from you what it is you want to know about. And it kind of gives me a guidance on the areas that you'd like me to touch on. So of course, you will find possibly that some of the question may be something you had asked, or maybe something that is of interest to you. So the first question I had was about ulcers, and there were a number of different ulcers, stomach ulcers, and also ulcers in the intestines. But for both of them, my first recommendation would be that if the person has not yet seen a doctor, it's good to recommend that they see a doctor so that they can assess, because sometimes ulcers can be very dangerous. So we don't recommend that they just take the product. It's good that they see a doctor, because sometimes an ulcer might be bleeding, or the ulcer might be at a place where it has some dangerous significance. So a visit to the doctor is useful. And another reason why it's good to see a doctor is sometimes the ulcer is being maintained by a bacterial infection. So there's a kind of an opportunistic bacterium that might be in the gut, and each time an ulcer begins, it makes it worse and keeps it from healing. So for this reason, the doctor might see that it is necessary for antibiotics to be administered. So our first recommendation for ulcers is to find out whether the person has seen a doctor, and if they have and they would like to use supplements, or the doctor has told them that here is a medication, so they continue to use the medication, but they can also use the supplements to help in their long-term healing. So once we have gone over that, then the supplements that we will recommend will be zinc, chelated zinc, which we have said very many times, that is very important for healing internal wounds. So that would be the first one. The other one would be Calmag, and aloe vera plus for drinking, because it's a tonic for the gut. If I know that in many of our markets, unfortunately, we do not have acidophilus, mainly because acidophilus requires to be kept at certain temperatures in order to maintain the live bacteria. If you have it in your market, then acidophilus is another one to add to the supplement for ulcers. But if not, then as usual, I say add fiber tablets, and you can also make sure that your diet has got a certain amount of fiber, because you'll remember, for those of us who have been attending training for a while, that these gut bacteria live on the fiber. And so the fiber we take is mainly for their benefit. So if you have acidophilus in your market, it's the other product we can recommend. But if we do not have it, then we recommend fiber tablets, as well as increasing the amount of fiber in your diet. Of course, because the person has got ulcers, we don't want very fibrous, rough food. What would be recommended is soluble fiber. So the kind of fiber you'll get in maybe cooked vegetables, but not something that is rough that can that can injure the ulcers. So soluble fibers tend to be softer, and so these ones can be added to the diet. If you're not sure, then fiber tablets or the multi-fiber blend is made of different types of soluble fibers that can be used to supplement the fiber in the diet. So that is what I had for the person who wanted, the number of persons who wanted to know about ulcers. Then the next question is another one which had a variety of questions, but they all come under autoimmune illnesses. So I wanted to just quickly speak about what to do with autoimmune illnesses. As we spoke about, I think a few weeks ago, our immunity is supposed to be our defense mechanism, but sometimes it can become stressed. And when the autoimmune system is stressed, it tends to attack the body's tissues. Instead of attacking the infections, it attacks the body's tissues. And this can be any kinds of tissue. Some of the autoimmune diseases will affect the gut, some will affect the skin, some will affect certain glands, and so on. So there is a wide variety of them. You probably will remember in the topic we talked about when we had the topic on autoimmune, our immune system. We spoke about things like lupus, we spoke about psoriasis, and so on. So with these ones, what is generally found is that all autoimmune illnesses seem to have a gut connection. If the integrity of the gut has been compromised, let's say we are hearing about people who have ulcers, we hear about people who have certain food allergies or food intolerances that cause the gut to, the lining of the gut to deteriorate. This can cause things to seep into the circulation, which are supposed to stay within the gut. And this can be the origin of the autoimmune illnesses. Of course, there are other things that lead to autoimmune illnesses. There are some which have got a genetic background, and there are some which can be a reaction to pollutants and so on. So, but in general, for the autoimmune illnesses, we recommend, first of all, Phyto-Defense, because we know that this is a supplement that is made of a number of phytonutrients that are important in helping our immunity to be robust. And then we also, if you have it in your market, also acidophilus, because the gut biome in us is an important part of our immunity. So if you have acidophilus, is another important one. If you do not have it, again, fiber tablets or multi-fiber blend. And you can also add to that Neolife shake or NutriShake, depending on what you have in your market. So these will help to support the immune system so that if it is stressed as a result of these different things, then the products will help. But of course, if you have got gut issues, then this could be the origin of the autoimmune illnesses. And so it's good to sort out the gut problems. If maybe you have got some dietary choices that are not so good, the autoimmune illness would be a warning that you need to attend to that and make better choices. So I think I'll leave that one there because this is normally a topic we visit quite extensively. So for today, just to recommend Phyto-Defense, acidophilus, and Neolife shake. If the person maybe is finding that the budget is, because Phyto-Defense is fairly pricey, then they can split it so that 1 month they can buy carotenoid, the next month they add flavonoids, and the third month they add the carotenoid, and that way they'll have the full Phyto-Defense. If they are able, for their budget allows it, then they can take the full Phyto-Defense and add to that Neolife shake, and even they can add 3NN and omega-3 salmon oil. So this is again a matter of what the budget is going to allow. Then another person wanted to know about recurrent swollen feet. So they have feet that swell, and they doesn't seem like the interventions they have done has got rid of the problem. So the thing with swollen feet is that it can be an indication of other systemic problems. It can be a case that the heart is not working very well, or the kidneys are not working very well either. So for that reason, swollen feet is good to see the doctor so that they check to see that there aren't some serious organ problems that are involved. And then on our side, with the Neolife supplements, we recommend multimineral, omega-3 salmon oil, and coenzyme Q10, which helps supports the working of the heart. So this will support the kidneys, they'll reduce inflammation, and they'll also support the heart. Then another thing a person who has this problem can do is at the end of the day, instead of sitting with the feet hanging down from the chair, it's good to put the feet up so that you drain the fluid that is accumulating on the feet. Is maybe you can lie down and put your feet above the level of your head so that the fluid in the feet drain away, just to help the circulation to improve as you wait for the problem to be resolved. Then several people also wanted to know about recurrent urinary tract infections. So this is another one that we come across fairly commonly, and it's quite an uncomfortable and irritating condition, which sometimes is related to imbalances in the gut microbiome and in the pH. So the first thing to say is that it is important not to use harsh soaps to clean the private parts if there is a urinary tract infection, because although it is irritated, to use the harsh cleansers and soap is going to make the problem worse. So it's better to just use plain warm water for cleaning. And for short-term relief, there is something called the Urine Alkalizer. The brand here in Southern Africa is called Citrosoda, but I don't know what it is called in other markets. So this will give a short-term relief to the feelings of burning after passing urine, but it is a temporary solution. So it is just for temporary relief. So one can use that Urine Alkalizer, and at the same time, from Neolife, you get garlic, allium complex, flavonoid complex, and acidophilus. The supplements are going to help the body to rectify the imbalances that are causing the urinary tract infection. There also, we can add omega-3 salmon oil to reduce the irritation and inflammation caused by the infection. And the Urine Alkalizer will give a temporary relief. So you get a temporary relief, but you get the actual healing of the condition by using the supplements. Then another group of people asked about GERD, G-E-R-D, the acid reflux problem. Sometimes we commonly call it heartburn. And this one is, we recommend chelated zinc, once again, Calmag, acidophilus, and aloe vera plus. And we recommend that to avoid lying down after eating a large meal, because then it causes the acid to come up into the gullets, and that worsens the problem. So we can use those supplements, but at the same time to identify some of the trigger food, because some foods make the problem worse. So as the problem is getting resolved, avoid those foods that are acting as triggers for the acid reflux. And eventually, as the problem is resolved, you can return to your normal diet. Different people find that different foods trigger the acid reflux. But generally, if you lie down after eating, you will find that it worsens the reflux. So it's better to eat well before bedtime so that the food has been gone out of the stomach and into the lower parts of the gut, where it cannot easily come back, and the acid has been dissipated from the stomach. Then the next question was someone was preparing for an operation and wanted to know what they can do to prepare themselves for to heal well after the operation. We know that all operations tend to be very heavy on the body because some of them are quite invasive, and so it's good to prepare the body so that we can recover well. And the first one, again, here will be chelated zinc, which helps to the wound healing. And then we have Neolife Shake, which is a protein preparation that will help to the tissues to be renewed, and also Pro-Vitality, which will give us Trianen, it will give us omega-3 to deal with the inflammation, as well as Multi to give us different vitamins and minerals. And it will give us carotenoid complex also to help our immune system to be in full play as we recover from the operation. So if someone is preparing for an operation, we can prepare in advance by taking those supplements. And in fact, we can continue with the supplements even in recovery. Unless, of course, the doctor says otherwise. But in preparation, we can use those supplements. I had another person who wanted to know about numbness in the feet. Again, the numbness in the feet can be a sign of other problems. So a first recommendation would be to see a doctor to find out if there is an underlying problem that is showing itself in the numb feet. And with that, we can also add the supplements, vitamin B complex, carotenoids, and vitamin E as well. This is usually if we are assuming that there is some problem to do with nerves, because sometimes that is the case. And so those supplements are going to have vitamin B complex, carotenoid complex, and vitamin E. Then a number of people asked about backache and spasms in the back muscles and so on. So backache is a very common problem in our world today, mainly associated with spending long periods seated. As I think mentioned before, and maybe you are aware from other sources, that sitting for long periods is not a thing we evolved to do. We evolved our bodies to be in motion most of the time. And if we were not moving, we were squatting, or we would sit for short periods. So these prolonged periods of sitting, let's say if you've got a sedentary job and so on, are the ones that have led to these very extensive numbers of people suffering from backache and different back problems. So for that reason, we recommend maintaining good posture when one is sitting down or standing, so that our spine is in a good position in order to avoid backache. And we can also consult a physiotherapist to show us exercises that can help to keep our backbone in good condition. That way our backbone is going to be, to not give us problems as time goes by. On the side of Neolife, we'll recommend Calmag, omega-3 salmon oil, and full motion. These are all to make sure that the bones are in good condition, that there is no inflammation in the joints, and that the cartilage in the joints are also in good repair. So those supplements will help with that. But of course, you need to sit in a good position and to not spend too long sitting, or at least to spend some time in motion and doing exercises that strengthen the back, because sitting for long periods weakens some of the muscles that are important for supporting the backbone. So for example, the muscles of the buttocks and up and thighs, as well as the muscles of the lower back, become weak when we sit for long periods. And that can lead to muscle imbalances, which translate into muscle spasms or can translate into backache. And in fact, sometimes it can be very serious, and some of the discs that are in the joints of the backbone can slip out of place because of the way we are sitting, or maybe bending for long periods and so on. So that is backache, and I hope that helps. Then there was one new mom suffering from toothache. She was a breastfeeding mom, and this is another problem that we come across because breastfeeding moms tend to require extra minerals because the breast milk takes quite a bit from them. So for that reason, we recommend that, just as we spoke, I think it was last week that we spoke about expectant moms and breastfeeding moms, multimineral and Calmag are very important to make sure that we are supplying the mom with the minerals that she needs. If there is a shortage of calcium in the diet, then the body is going to draw calcium out of the teeth in order to supply the breast milk with calcium. So for that reason, it is very important that the breastfeeding mom has got plenty of calcium in her diet. And she, apart from the supplements, she can also add things like the small fishes in her diet. Omena is very good, and all the other small sardines type of fish, which we eat with the bones, they are very rich in calcium. Certain leafy vegetables are also rich in calcium, like spinach, and certain legumes like mung beans. Mung beans in Kiswahili are called pojo. Yeah, I think it's pojo, if I remember my Kiswahili correctly. So all these are rich in calcium and are good foods for the breastfeeding mom to include in her diet, so that she has plenty of calcium and does not endanger her teeth. Okay, then there was someone asking about someone recovering from drug use. And here again, just to congratulate the person who is living the life of drug abuse. And we can support them by recommending Tree and N for them, Beta-Guard to help them with detox, and then vitamin B complex also is going to be helpful here, because some of these drugs actually cause a deficiency in certain supplements. And we also recommend for them to eat a healthy diet, because when one is using drugs, sometimes they don't take good care of themselves and their diet suffers and their exercise suffers. So as well as stopping the drug usage, they should also try to include good health habits such as exercise, such as good nutrition to support them in recovery. And we, as I said, recommend for them Tree and N, Beta-Guard, vitamin B complex. And if their budget allows it, which it should, since they are now no longer buying drugs, they can maybe add a NutriShake there. Okay, then there was a person who wanted to know about type 2 diabetes. And here we recommend Botanical Balance, Pro Vitality, and fiber tablets. We also recommend that they increase exercise or movement, at least in their lifestyle, because it helps them to metabolize sugar and carbohydrates better. And they clean up their diet, avoid refined carbohydrates, make good carbohydrate choices by using some of our traditional carb sources like yams, sweet potatoes, cassavas, and so on, which have not been processed, but also keep the carbohydrates on the lower side and use plenty of vegetables. Fruits also, you should be careful, avoid the sweet fruits and go for fruits such as avocados and fruits which are not very sweet. Coconuts, avocados, and so on are good for the person who has diabetes. Exercise is important because it helps in metabolizing the sugar. Then, in fact, they find that something like diabetes, you can actually turn it around completely just by changing your lifestyle choices. Okay, then I see I've got 1 more minute. I will go to the person who wanted to know about arthritis. I think it was in the knee joints. So it causes knee pains and problems with movement. So once again here, we recommend full motion to help the body to repair the cartilage in the knee joint. We recommend Calmag and omega-3 salmon oil. And also a visit to the physiotherapist might be useful, because they will indicate certain exercises that help to strengthen the muscles that control the knee, because sometimes the pain is worsened by muscle imbalances. So also some people find that certain foods cause a flare up in the arthritis pain. So it's good to identify those foods and avoid them for the time being until the joint has been repaired. Okay, one last, I see I still have another minute. Someone wanted to know about gout. So gout is a close relative of arthritis. It also attacks joints, but this one has more to do with, it can run in families, but it can also be out of dietary choices. So to increase the amount of fruits and vegetables in the diet, as well as to supplement with flavonoid complex, omega-3 salmon oil, and multimineral. So with gout, sometimes you find that if someone is eating certain foods that, certain protein foods can worsen gout. And so we may have to reduce or eliminate red meat from the diet. Alcohol can also be a culprit in gout, and either to minimize or eliminate it from the diet. And then, of course, increase the amount of leafy vegetables in the diet so as to give the body what it needs to rectify the gout. So with the supplementing is flavonoids, omega-3 salmon oil, and multimineral. Okay, I think there my time is up. Thank you very much for your attention. It is a pleasure, as always, to share these answers to your questions. Of course, there is always something that I missed out, or something that someone has found that is working that I'm not aware about. I'm always happy to hear from you what you have found that works for different things. So be kind and let me know what you have found that is useful, that I might not be aware about, because we are all distributors and we see different people and we have different experiences. So it's good to be able to share them. And so my part ends there. I want to welcome Pascal, who is standing by, ready to share his session with you. And just to wish you a very good evening and all the best in this month of February. We have already reached the middle. It's running very fast. So let us go out there and let everyone know that we have something of value to offer to them. Thank you very much. Here is Pascal now.
Thank you very much, Betsy. I think when I listen to some of the questions, I also think about my knowledge of the product, and it helps me to answer some of the questions when the expert is not around. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to share with you two things this evening. One is how to get new people started in the business. Because when we introduce people to the business, why are we sponsoring people in the business? We sponsor people in the business to build directors, to help them become successful. But one of the things that really helps us to grow to success in the business is our attitude. So if you allow me, I want to share the screen with you to have a few ideas about, let me just start that from the current slide. I want to share with you some ideas on how to get new people started in the business, because it's very important when people start the business, they have some certain expectations. But maybe because when they went to the meeting, they had a really fantastic story. They had somebody's story of a person starting the business, and within 6 months, they become directors. And sometimes when they don't get the results they were expecting, they feel frustrated. So I want to share a few ideas with you so that when you start new people in the business, you start them on the right path. The first is you need to set the right expectation. You don't overpromise and you don't underpromise. This business is a fantastic business. It's really, really a good business, and it can transform your life completely. But a few things. The first one, when you're starting somebody in the business, it's good to acknowledge the decision they make to get started in the business. So congratulate them for deciding to start the Neolife business and taking charge of their future. Okay, because that is important. I have never met anybody who started the business to fail. I've only met people who started the business to succeed, or some start the business because they want to use fantastic products from Neolife. So the first thing is congratulate them for deciding to start the Neolife business. Number two, you need to let the new distributor know that you're going to guide them and help them become independent and successful in the business, but you're going to assist them. You're not going to do for them what they should be doing for themselves. You're going to guide them to become independent as soon as possible, and you'll assist them to do the work. Most of the work is going to be done by them. I remember when we started the business, our sponsor just told us what to do, and sometimes we arrange our own meetings. I was completely consumed by this business. I started practicing how to do presentations. Within 2 months, I would do a presentation. And I remember one time we are going to do a presentation in Swaziland, which is about 270 kilometers from Pretoria. So we drove to the border, and when we got to the border, our upline leader, Johannes van Eden, called and said, Pascal, I'm not coming, just do the presentation yourself. Okay, so our upline leader really taught us to jump into the pool and swim much earlier on in the business. I think that is one of the reasons why our business grew very quickly. So tell your new distributors that you're going to help them succeed in the business, but you're not going to do it for them. And you want to make them as independent as quickly as possible. The third thing is this. You know, when I read this, I found it so true. In this business, you're going to have ups and downs. Sometimes you're going to be frustrated, sometimes you're going to be excited. It's very important to let your new distributors know this. If they know that in advance, they'll be able to deal with it better. Ask them a simple question. Look, I know you in this business, you'll experience some ups and downs. And I will know that from an indication when I don't see you in meetings, I don't see you in Zoom presentations or in Zoom training sessions. When I call you, sometimes you don't pick up your phone. Those are indications that you are going through a tough time. The question is, when that happens, would you want me to leave you alone or to keep reminding you of the reasons why you started the business? This is important because sometimes when you call new distributors and they don't pick up your phone, you feel frustrated. They also feel that you're bothering them. So it's good to clarify that in the beginning and ask them straight away, look, would you like me to keep reminding you of why you started, or do you like me to give you space and leave you alone? Okay, everybody goes through that situation where the business is tough, you're talking to people, nobody seems to be joining, and you think the business doesn't work. No, the business works. The fourth thing is you need to give your new distributors the right tools and information to start building the business. Tools are things like CDs, magazines, brochures, price lists, everything they need to build their business, and teach them how to use those tools. Videos, for example, I think Neolife has done a fantastic 2 minutes, 58-second video that you can send to your prospects, okay? Number 5, teach them to understand the compensation plan. What is a manager? What is a senior manager? What is an executive manager? Director, emerald director, sapphire, 1 ruby, 2 ruby. How do you take the steps? How do you maximize bonuses? How do you maximize getting incentives? It's very important to understand the difference between the compensation plan and the incentives. The compensation plan is what the company is legally obliged to pay you for the work that you have done. The incentives is over and above the marketing plan. Those are things that the company puts together to help people to grow their business faster. Incentives are not part of the marketing plan. They are different. That's why they keep changing. The marketing plan is different. The marketing plan is, the company has a legal obligation to pay you for the work you have done. Okay, so it's very important to understand the difference between part of the compensation plan and incentives. Incentives are there to help you grow your business faster. And then learn the basics of the business. The basics of the business are very simple. Use the products, share the business, share the products, personal development. These are the basics of our business that we do over and over and over again to make our business grow. So teach your new people these basic things. Now, it's very important that when people are starting the business, I don't know how many of you have actually read the Getting Started document prepared by Neolife. That document is so well written that I think Neolife selected the best books in our industry for personal development and understanding how the business is done. Look on page 13 of Getting Started document that Neolife has built. And then in the introduction, I think the company separates 2 things: the corporate culture and the personal attributes. Make sure this is inculcated into new distributors when they are starting off in the business. The corporate culture, the 5 basic things, the 5 rules that we have in our business: absolute integrity, people are number 1, products that work, long-range vision, and equal opportunity for everybody. This is our corporate culture. And I think every distributor needs to memorize these things. If you can't remember it, if you can't remember all the 5, remember the acronym APPLE. A for absolute integrity, P for people are number 1, P for products that work, L for long-range vision, and E, equal opportunity. The APPLE principle. This is our corporate culture. This is the attitude we need to develop in our business to make it stable. The second part is personal attributes. Personal attributes are things you need to inculcate in yourself as a person and express them when you're building this business. Number one is unselfishness. In this business, if you are selfish, I can promise you, you will not succeed. Number two is stewardship and gratitude. Stewardship simply means you hold the idea that you're holding something very precious in your hands and you've got the responsibility to pass it on to other people. That is what stewardship is. A steward is somebody who holds something dear in their hands on behalf of somebody else. We are holding this opportunity in our hands so that we can pass it down to other people to change their lives. And then the attitude of gratitude. It is very, very important to have an attitude of gratitude because neuroscience has actually found that people who have got gratitude tend to live longer. They are much, much happier because they are thankful of the things they have rather than complaining about the things they don't have. Humility. Humility is simply accepting yourself the way you are, not thinking you're better than others and not thinking that you're worse than others. Humility is actually truth. Having a strong work ethic, having a positive attitude, and having a life-work balance. These are very important personal attributes of our business. And when people are starting the business, I would suggest that you make this, all this information is in the Getting Started document prepared by Neolife. What are the three things you need to become successful? This you need to tell new distributors. New distributors, if some of you are new in the business, these three important ingredients are very important. Number one, you need to have a burning desire. You need to have a desire to have more than you currently have. That comes from building a dream. What is it that you want to do? Number two is being coachable. Being coachable means you're willing to learn. From my experience, teaching people is a simple part. But people actually following through and doing what you've taught them, it's not an easy task. Not because people don't want to do them, but it's because of the nature of our being, is that for us to be able to do something, we have to repeat it many times until it becomes a habit. So being coachable means you allow yourself to be led by the hand by somebody who is more experienced. And number three is a willingness to work hard. Income-producing activities. Income-producing activities are the things you need to do every day to grow your business. Talking to people, either prospects or customers, or supporting your existing distributors. Those are the income-producing activities. Those are the things that makes our business to grow. If you're not doing these things every day, your business is not growing. It's as simple as that, okay? And then, getting started, step number one. What is your why? What is your reason for doing the business? Prepare a dream chart. And I insist this very strongly because it's very important that you realize that everything in life is created twice. Think about it. I know Paul was sitting in his home. Maybe most of you are sitting in your houses or you're in a restaurant, wherever you are. The house you're staying in, before it was built, it was in the mind of an architect. The strength of that building was in the mind of a structural engineer. Only a builder came to put it together. So everything that you have in life is created twice. First, in the mind. Two, it comes into a reality. The same things happens in our business. If you want to succeed in this business, you need to create the future you want in your mind with utmost clarity. That is why we recommend have a dream chart, have a pictorial representation of the things you want to achieve. Number two, set goals. Goals is when you set a date for achieving the dreams that you want. And human beings are goal-striving beings. So, in fact, I think the happiest people are people who have goals that they work towards. Are they going to achieve them as they all the time they want? No, but at least they're working towards it. Okay, so have goals. Set a date for the dreams to be achieved. Number three, develop monthly, weekly, and daily activity schedules. If your long-term goals is not built into an everyday activity, it will not come to pass. So make sure that your daily habits is linked to your final goal. Number 4, develop daily success habits. Use the products, share the business, start with a name list of 100 or more, and every day add new names to the list. Learn to invite professionally for prospects to see the business. Ask the right questions to find out if the prospect actually wants the business. Okay? It's very important to learn how to ask professionally. Inviting people means asking the questions, are they open to look at the business, or are they open to look at a way to earn extra money? Then learn to show the plan. Showing the plan has 4 parts. 1, telling your story. 2 is explaining why the current solution that people have is not working for everybody. Number 3, explain the logic of the business. How does the business work? And number 4, call to action. Then do a follow-up. Plan and monitor your activity on a constant basis. If you do these basic things, these are the basic things new people need to learn. But you see, all this I'm sharing with you are theoretical things. It's very important to know that it's important to understand what needs to be done. Why is that important? Because what needs to be done gives you the how. That is a skill. And then you need the knowledge, is the content of what you need to do. But the thing that really drives you is the attitude. The attitude is the why of the things that you do. If you know very well, you have, I call it the ask principle. Ask simply means attitude, skill, and knowledge. If you have these 3 things, your business is going to grow, or the changes you want in your life are going to come to be. So I would strongly suggest that go through this information that we've just shared with you. Number 1 is know what you need to do. Set the right climate for the new distributor. Number 2, show them what they need to do, how to order products, what PV is, they understand the marketing plan. Once they've understood the marketing plan, and then show them what they need to do, the basics. The basics are, use the products every day. Number 2, share the business opportunity. Some people are not interested in the business, share the products with them, they'll become customers. And number 3, do personal development. Personal development, I think, is the most important part of the business if you want the business to succeed. And the reason why personal development is very important is because we are not paid according to what we want, we are paid according to who we have become. And that is very, very important, because who we have become is difficult to explain, but in the sense that if you want to succeed in this business, work the hardest on yourself. Not on your team, not on the products, but in yourself. That means you really need to take time to develop your good attitude. You need to take time to get knowledge about the products, take time to learn about the marketing plan, and take time to be very proficient in what you do. But the thing that will really make a difference in your business is when you learn how to have a good attitude. So in this next session, I want to talk to you about attitude. Why is attitude very important? Attitude is very important because it helps us to become successful. If you give me a few minutes, I want to share with you something from the screen that I've been thinking about that would really make a difference in your business. If you give me 1 minute, please. All right, just a question I would like to ask everybody who is watching. If you're in the business for 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, if you're not satisfied with the results that you are getting, show your hand. Just lift up your hand if you're not satisfied with what you're getting as in the result. Okay, I see everybody's lifting up their hands. Then I'm talking to the right crowd. I think all of us are not satisfied with what we are actually achieving in the business. Okay, I think everybody, which is a very, very good sign. It's a good sign because all of us want to change. All of us want to become WAL team members. All of us want to become President's team members. Those who are President's team members, all of us want to become 5 Diamond directors, Betty and I included. But what is it that is stopping us from becoming what we want? You know, I have agonized with these issues for such a long time. I have read so many books about this. I'm going to share with you some ideas that I would like you to really think about seriously. Now, what is the one thing that helps us to become successful? The one thing that helps us to become successful is our attitude or our belief. But how can we, you know, we normally tell distributors, just have faith, have belief. But what do we really mean by have belief? I've shared with you in the screen here something quite simple that I would like to, I think it will shed some light on, I think, the main reason why we are not successful. Now, the mind and the brain are two different things. The brain is a physical, biological organ in your head that the thinking process occurs. But the mind is a spiritual part. The mind is the one that does the thinking. The brain is like a computer. The mind is the programming in the computer. That's the best way I think I can describe it. Now, we have the conscious part of our mind, and we have the subconscious part of our mind. The conscious part of our mind is our intellect that we reason out things. And there are two types, the logical and the creative. The logical is the left side, is a thing that helps us to add 1 + 1 is 2. If I want to walk from here to the door, I need to turn the handle and open. That is logical. The creative part of our brain is the one that uses information to come up with new ideas. Both these are the conscious part of the mind. But below this, by the way, this is just a physical representation of something spiritual. I drew it like this in order to be able to explain it and understand it myself better. So you have the conscious mind, which is the top. Below that is a subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is part of our mind that is responsible for our automatic habits. For example, walking. When you're walking, you're not consciously thinking that you're walking. You know you're walking because you've done it many times. Swimming is the same. Driving is the same. These are automatic processes. And the subconscious part of our mind is amoral. That means it's morally neutral. It doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. It just obeys the instruction that it is given. It's automatic. So, and the thing that controls our success is something called paradigm. Paradigm is the programming in our subconscious that controls our habits. Okay? So, if you want to change your results, you have to change your paradigm. How do you change your paradigm? You cannot change your paradigm by thinking logically by it. No. You change your paradigm by spaced repetition, and you do it with emotional content. That's the way you change your paradigm. That's where you program your subconscious for success. Spaced repetition, but emotionally. Let me give you an example. I take 3 weeks to teach you what swimming is. I give you an exam and you score 100%. Then I drop you into a pool of water. Will you swim? The answer is no. You won't be able to swim. Why? because you haven't done it. It hasn't become a habit. It hasn't become something that is driven from your subconscious mind. That is why practice makes us become good human beings. And spaced repetition done emotionally, it is what changes our paradigm so that we have good habits. So in the context of our business, how do we do this? I have two suggestions. Number one, when you get home tonight, write down 10 things that you are grateful for. Why am I saying that? Because the world has programmed us to complain about the things we don't have. So we need to shift and change that so that we are thankful about the things we do have. So write down 10 things that you're grateful for, but some of them, write them in the form of the things you want to achieve, and you're thankful for the things you expect to achieve. For example, you might say, I'm thankful for having a team of 10,000 distributors. You haven't achieved it yet, but you're thankful for it because that is what you're expecting. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what you have imagined and what is actually a reality. So write down 10 things that you are grateful for. Number two, write down the future that you want as if it already is existing or as if it already happens. And then spaced repetition, it means you read it 3, 4, or 5 times every single day. Why do you need to do this? Is because that is the way you program your subconscious mind. I am sure some of you, if you are distributors, you have spoken to a distributor and they tell you how successful they are going to become and nothing happens. It's because their paradigm, their subconscious programming still is not changed for them. It allows them to become successful. So I think with these few ideas, this is the best way I can explain it on how to change your habits so that they become success habits. Write down a list of 10 things you're grateful for. Write down the things that you want as if they already happened. Read it with emotion every morning, midday, in the evening. Read it. It's called spaced repetition. If you look at the top athletes in the world, they train so intensely because they are reprogramming their subconscious mind for top performance. Every athlete I know, every musician I know, every expert in whatever they do, they get involved in spaced repetition. If you do spaced repetition, that goal that you want to achieve will become a reality. So Paul, ladies and gentlemen, I want to really thank you for spending this evening with Betty and myself. And Paul, having hosted us, Paul has been hosting us now for almost straight 2 years. So Paul, we really appreciate that. And with spaced repetition, we are going to double our business in the next 3 months, whichever market you're in. That I am absolutely sure. I've just bought a book called Change Your Paradigm and Change Your Life by Bob Proctor. It's a fantastic book. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pascal. I was just writing the book.
Oh, yeah, it's called Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life. And it's written by Bob Proctor.
All right. Thank you so much, Pascal and Betty, for that session. It's quite an amazing session. Listening to it is just gives me a lot of thoughts about how to be able to change our business and our thinking, because it's possible. And we just want to thank you for the time that you put together with Betty to be able to bring us such powerful presentation. We don't take it for granted, and we can only thank you. And I believe that our distributors on the call today, they have been able to get something out of the training, and they'll be able to apply it out there, because we always operate on a principle that we call SEND, an acronym, which means simple to understand, easy to do, and something that is duplicatable. And I always find the teachings of Pascal always on that line of thinking, and it's just amazing how you have been able to put the thoughts together. If you're a guest on the call today and your first time to be here, we just want to welcome you. Maybe what we have been saying has not made a lot of sense to you. I just recommend you to speak to the person who extended this welcome to you, and they'll be able to tell you how you can be able to be part of this opportunity. And what we are speaking about with time will start making sense to you, and you'll be able to be part of the bigger picture. So I just want to thank each and every one of you on the call for finding time to be with us. We have come to the end of our meeting. Have a lovely night and see you soon. God bless and bye-bye. Thank you, Pascal. Good night.
Good night.